The giant hospital ship Healing Dawn moved slowly through space. Its white hull gleamed under the distant stars, marked with bright red crosses that told everyone this was a medical vessel. Inside the massive ship, over 2,000 people worked to save lives. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge watching the stars ahead. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. For 20 years, he had commanded medical ships. He believed that helping others was the most important job in the galaxy. "Captain, we're getting a message," said Lieutenant Amy Preston from her station. She was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair. She had joined the medical corps to help people, not to fight wars. "Put it through," Jake said. The voice that came through the speakers was weak and scared. "This is Haven's Rest Colony. We need help. A plague has hit our world. People are dying every day. Please. Anyone who can hear this, we need medical help." Jake looked at his crew. They had just finished treating wounded soldiers from the border fight with the Zephyrian aliens. Everyone was tired. The ship was full of hurt people who needed to get to Earth hospitals. But Haven's Rest was a neutral colony. They had no army, no weapons, just farmers and families. "Sir," said Kevin Walsh, the navigation officer. He was a big man with red hair and freckles. "Haven's Rest is 3 days away, but it's close to Zephyrian space." Jake thought about this. The Zephyrians were tall, blue-skinned aliens who looked down on humans. They thought humans were weak and stupid. There had been small fights between human and Zephyrian ships, but no real war yet. "Dr. Carter to the bridge," Jake said into his communicator. A few minutes later, Dr. Lisa Carter arrived. She was the chief medical officer, a smart woman in her 40s with black hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her white coat was stained with blood from the surgery she had just finished. "What's the situation, Captain?" she asked. "Haven's Rest has a plague. They need help." Lisa's face became serious. "What kind of plague?" "They didn't say." "But people are dying," Lisa thought for a moment. "We have medicine that could help, and our doctors know how to fight diseases, but—" She looked worried. "We already have 800 wounded soldiers on board. Our medical bays are full." "Could we help both?" Jake asked. "Maybe. It would be hard work. We'd need to set up emergency medical areas. Use every doctor and nurse we have." Jake walked to the big window that showed space ahead. He thought about the families on Haven's Rest. He thought about the wounded soldiers sleeping in the medical bays below. His job was to save lives. All lives. "Amy, send a message to Haven's Rest. Tell them we're coming." "Yes, sir." Kevin set. "Course for Haven's Rest." "Right away, Captain," Dr. Carter smiled. "I'll tell the medical teams to get ready." As the Healing Dawn changed direction, Jake felt good about his choice. This was why he became a doctor ship captain, to help people who had no one else to turn to. Down in the medical bays, hundreds of wounded soldiers lay in beds. Some slept, helped by medicine for their pain. Others stared at the ceiling, thinking about friends who had died in the fighting. Commander Ryan Beck was one of the wounded. He lay in bed number 47, his left leg in a metal brace. His right arm was wrapped in bandages. But the worst wounds were the ones no one could see. Ryan was 32 years old, a Marine commander who had led men into battle many times. He had short black hair and dark eyes that had seen too much fighting. 3 weeks ago, his squad had been attacked by Zephyrian forces. Ryan was the only one who lived. "How are you feeling today, Commander?" asked Nurse Amy Preston. She had finished her bridge duty and was now helping in the medical bay. "Fine," Ryan said, but his voice was flat, empty. Amy checked his chart. "Dr. Carter says your leg is healing well. You should be able to walk again in a few weeks." Ryan nodded but didn't speak. He thought about his squad, good men who had followed his orders, men who would never go home to their families. "Commander," Amy said softly, "I know it's hard, but you did everything you could." Ryan looked at her. "Did I? 12 men died because I led them into a trap. The Zephyrians broke the peace treaty. They attacked without warning. That's not your fault." But Ryan didn't believe her. At night, he heard the voices of his dead men. He saw their faces when he closed his eyes. In the main medical bay, Dr. Carter worked on a soldier who had been hurt by Zephyrian energy weapons. The burns were deep and painful. These weapons were designed to hurt as much as possible. "Doctor," said Nurse Kevin Walsh, who also helped in medical when not on the bridge, "why do the Zephyrians use weapons like this? They could kill quickly, but instead they make people suffer." Lisa looked up from her work. "They want to scare us, make us afraid to fight them." "It's working," Kevin said quietly. As the healing dawn flew toward Haven's Rest, Jake sat in his quarters reading reports. The fighting with the Zephyrians was getting worse. More human ships were being attacked. More colonies were asking for protection. But the worst part was how other alien races acted. When humans asked for help, most aliens said it wasn't their problem. Some even said humans had brought the trouble on themselves. Jake had been in space for a long time. He had met many alien species. Most were not bad, but they saw humans as newcomers. Weak newcomers who didn't deserve respect. The Zephyrians were different. They didn't just ignore humans. They hated humans. They thought humans were like insects that needed to be stepped on. "Captain," came Amy's voice over the communicator. "We're getting another message from Haven's Rest." Jake went back to the bridge. The voice from Haven's Rest was even weaker now. "Please hurry. The plague is spreading fast. We've lost over 300 people. Our doctors don't know what to do. You're our only hope." Jake felt his heart break a little. These people were dying while he flew through space as fast as he could. But space was big, and ships could only go so fast. "Amy, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we're responding to a medical emergency at Haven's Rest." "Yes, sir." "And Amy, make sure our medical protection signals are broadcasting on all frequencies. I want everyone in this part of space to know we're a hospital ship." The healing dawn flew on through the dark. Inside, doctors and nurses got ready to fight a plague. Wounded soldiers tried to heal from their injuries. And Captain Jake Morrison hoped that showing mercy to others would keep them all safe. He had no idea that mercy would not be enough. 3 days later, the healing dawn arrived at Haven's Rest. The planet looked sick from space. Brown clouds covered what should have been green farmland. The few cities showed almost no lights. "Captain," said Kevin Walsh from his station, "I'm reading very few life signs down there. Much fewer than there should be." Jake Morrison felt cold inside. They might be too late to save many people. "Amy, try to contact the planet." "This is the hospital ship Healing Dawn," Amy said into her communicator. "Haven's Rest, please respond." A weak voice came back. "Thank God you came. We're dying down here. Please hurry." Dr. Lisa Carter was already ready with her medical teams. They had prepared medicine and equipment to fight the plague. Teams of doctors and nurses waited to go down to the planet. "Captain," said Dr. Carter, "we're ready to start helping people." But before Jake could answer, alarms started ringing all over the ship. "Captain!" Kevin shouted. "Ships are appearing around us." On the main screen, Jake watched in horror as 6 large warships became visible. They had been hiding, waiting for the healing dawn to arrive. The ships were long and dark, with the blue markings of the Zephyrian military. "All stop," Jake ordered. "Amy, broadcast our medical protection status on all frequencies." Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. Broadcasting now, sir. All channels. The largest Zephyrian ship moved closer. It was twice the size of the Healing Dawn, covered in weapons. A face appeared on the main screen. The alien was tall and blue-skinned with cold yellow eyes and a cruel smile. I am Admiral Thexvar of the Zephyrian Third Fleet, the alien said. His voice was deep and full of hate. Human vessel, you will surrender immediately. Jake stood up straight. Admiral, this is Captain Morrison of the medical ship Healing Dawn. We are a hospital ship protected under galactic law. We are here to help sick people on Haven's Rest. Admiral Thexvar laughed. It was an ugly sound. Galactic law? Those laws were made by species that matter. Humans are nothing but pests. Insects. You have no rights. Admiral, we have over 2,000 medical personnel and wounded soldiers on board. We are not a military target. You are humans, Thexvar said coldly. That makes you a target. Jake felt his hands shake with anger, but he kept his voice calm. We demand safe passage under medical protection laws. You demand? Thexvar's yellow eyes grew bright with anger. Insects do not make demands. Today, we will show the galaxy what happens to human pests who fly too far from their nest. The communication ended. On the screen, Jake could see the Zephyrian ships turning their weapons toward the Healing Dawn. Shields up, Jake ordered. Shields are up, but Captain, Kevin said, his voice shaking. We only have basic protection shields. We're a medical ship. We can't fight 6 warships. Send a distress signal. Full emergency broadcast. Sir, Amy said, tears in her eyes. I'm sending the signal, but we're too far from any human ships. It will take hours for help to arrive. Down in the medical bays, alarms were ringing. Dr. Carter ran through the hallways trying to organize evacuations, but there was nowhere to go. The Healing Dawn only had enough escape pods for half the people on board. All medical personnel to emergency stations, Dr. Carter announced. Begin patient evacuation procedures. But she knew it was hopeless. You cannot move 800 wounded soldiers quickly. Many could not even walk. Commander Ryan Beck heard the alarms from his bed. His legs still hurt, but he forced himself to stand up. Other soldiers around him were trying to get up too. What's happening? Asked a young soldier with burned hands. We're under attack, Ryan said. He looked around the medical bay. Hundreds of hurt soldiers and medical staff who had never been in a fight. Nurses, get the men who can't walk to the center of the ship. Everyone else with me. Commander, said Nurse Amy Preston, who had run down from the bridge. Captain Morrison says all military personnel should help with evacuations. Ryan grabbed her arm gently. Amy, how many escape pods do we have? 43. Each pod holds 12 people. That's barely 500 people. We have over 2,000 on board. Amy's face went white. She understood. Not everyone could be saved. On the bridge, Jake Morrison sat in his captain's chair. He had commanded medical ships for 20 years. He had saved thousands of lives. Now he was going to watch his crew die. Captain, Kevin said quietly, maybe we should surrender. Maybe they'll let the medical staff live. Jake looked at the Zephyrian ships on the screen. No, they won't. The first energy blasts hit the Healing Dawn. The shields flashed and sparked. The ship shook like it was hit by an earthquake. Shields down to 60%, Kevin reported. Amy, keep broadcasting our medical status. Maybe someone will hear. But Jake knew no one was coming. The Zephyrians had planned this perfectly. They had waited for a human medical ship to come to Haven's Rest. They wanted to kill doctors and nurses. They wanted to show that humans meant nothing. More energy blasts hit the ship. In the medical bays, lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. Dr. Carter worked to move patients, but the ship was shaking too much. "We need more time," she said to herself. Commander Ryan Beck had gathered every soldier who could still fight. It was maybe 50 men, most of them wounded. They had small arms, pistols, and rifles meant for ground fighting. Against spaceships, they were useless. "Sir," said a young Marine named Tony, "what do we do?" Ryan looked at the medical staff around them. Doctors and nurses who spent their lives saving people who had never hurt anyone. "We protect them," Ryan said simply. "We buy them time to evacuate who they can." The ship shook again, harder this time. The lights flickered. On the bridge, Jake Morrison made his last decision as a captain. He opened a communication channel to the entire ship. "This is Captain Morrison. All hands abandon ship. Medical personnel first, then walking wounded, then everyone else. It has been an honor serving with all of you." But before anyone could move, the Zephyrian ships fired all their weapons at once. The Healing Dawn's shields failed completely. Energy beams cut through the hull like it was paper. Jake Morrison had time for one last message. He aimed it at Earth, hoping someone would hear. "This is Captain Morrison of the medical ship Healing Dawn. We are under attack by Zephyrian forces. They are killing medical personnel in violation of all galactic laws. Remember us. Remember what they did here." The bridge exploded in light and fire. Jake Morrison died instantly, along with Amy Preston and Kevin Walsh. Throughout the ship, people ran and screamed and tried to find safety that did not exist. Dr. Carter was crushed when a ceiling fell on her. She died trying to protect a wounded soldier. Commander Ryan Beck was thrown against a wall when the ship's power core was hit. As he lost consciousness, he heard the screams of dying people, good people who had only wanted to help others. The Healing Dawn broke apart in space. Pieces of the great medical ship spread out among the stars. Almost everyone on board died in the first few minutes. Admiral Thexvar watched the destruction on his screen. He smiled coldly. "Excellent," he said to his officers. "Send a message to command. Tell them we destroyed a group of human pirates who were attacking Haven's Rest. Make sure the records show no medical ship was ever here." The Zephyrian ships flew away, leaving behind only wreckage and the dead. They had killed over 2,000 innocent people, and they felt no shame about it at all. In the wreckage, one small escape pod drifted in space. Inside, Commander Ryan Beck was unconscious and bleeding. He was the only survivor of the massacre. He would wake up 3 days later, alone among the stars, carrying the memory of what the Zephyrians had done. Ryan Beck woke up in a white room that smelled like medicine. His head hurt, and his body felt like it had been hit by a truck. Machines beeped around him, and tubes ran into his arms. "You're awake," said a voice. Ryan turned his head and saw a woman in a white coat. She was maybe 40 years old with kind eyes and gray hair. "I'm Dr. Helen Torres. You're in Terra General Hospital on Earth." "How long?" Ryan asked. His voice was rough and dry. "You've been unconscious for 6 days. A cargo ship found your escape pod drifting near the Haven's Rest system. You're lucky to be alive." Ryan closed his eyes. Lucky. He didn't feel lucky. He felt like he should have died with everyone else. "The others," he said. "Did anyone else survive?" Dr. Torres looked sad. "I'm sorry. You were the only one found." Ryan felt something break inside his chest. Captain Morrison, Dr. Carter, Amy, Preston, Kevin Walsh, all the wounded soldiers he had tried to protect. All dead. "I need to report what happened," Ryan said, trying to sit up. Easy, Dr. Torres said, gently pushing him back down. Military investigators are waiting to talk to you, but you need to rest first. But Ryan couldn't rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the healing dawn breaking apart. He heard the screams. He smelled the smoke and burning metal. 2 days later, 3 military officers came to see him. General Patricia Stone was the leader. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and hard eyes. She looked like someone who had seen many wars. With her were Colonel Marcus Webb, a man with a gray mustache who took notes on a computer tablet. The third was Major Linda Hayes, a young woman who recorded everything with a small device. Commander Beck, General Stone said, sitting down next to his bed. I know this is difficult, but we need to know exactly what happened, Ryan told them. Everything. How the healing dawn had gone to help sick people on Haven's Rest. How the Zephyrian ships had been waiting. How Admiral Thexvar had laughed when Captain Morrison asked for medical protection. He said humans were insects, Ryan said, staring at the ceiling. He said we had no rights under galactic law. General Stone's face became angry, but she kept her voice calm. Did you see the name or number of the Zephyrian flagship? The Sovereign's Fist. Admiral Thexvar commanded it. Colonel Webb looked up from his tablet. Commander, are you certain about the name Thexvar? Yes. He made sure we knew who was killing us. The officers looked at each other. Major Hayes stopped her recording device. Commander, General Stone said carefully, we've checked with the Zephyrian government. They say they have no record of any attack on a medical ship. They claim Admiral Thexvar was conducting anti-piracy operations in that area. Ryan sat up quickly, ignoring the pain. What? According to their official reports, they destroyed a group of human pirates who were attacking Haven's Rest colony. That's impossible. We were broadcasting medical signals on all frequencies. We had wounded soldiers on board, doctors, nurses. We know, General Stone said softly, but we have no proof. Your escape pod's data recorder was damaged. We can't prove what really happened. Ryan felt sick. So they just get away with it? They murder 2,000 innocent people and nothing happens? Colonel Webb cleared his throat. The Galactic Council has issued a statement expressing concern about the loss of life. They've asked both humans and Zephyrians to avoid future conflicts. Concern? Ryan's voice was getting louder. They murdered a hospital ship and the galaxy is concerned. Commander, Major Hayes said gently, most alien species see this as a human problem. They don't want to get involved in our conflicts. Ryan lay back down. He felt empty inside. So we're alone. Yes, General Stone said. We're alone. The officers left, but General Stone came back that evening. She sat in the chair next to Ryan's bed and didn't speak for a long time. General, Ryan finally said, I've been a soldier for 30 years, Commander. I've seen humans die in pointless wars. I've seen good people killed by bad people. But what happened to the healing dawn? She stopped and took a deep breath. That was different. How? They didn't kill soldiers. They killed doctors, nurses, people whose only crime was trying to help others. General Stone looked out the window at the city below. And the galaxy doesn't care. So what do we do? General Stone turned back to him. That depends on you, Commander. You can take a medical discharge. Go home. Try to forget what happened and live a normal life. Or you can help me make sure this never happens again. Ryan thought about Dr. Carter, who had died trying to save wounded soldiers. About Captain Morrison, who had risked his ship to help sick people on Haven's Rest. About Amy Preston, who had been so young and wanted to help people. What did you have in mind, General? General Stone smiled, but it was not a happy smile. The galaxy thinks humans are weak. They think we'll just accept whatever happens to us. They think we're too nice to fight back. Aren't we? Commander, let me tell you about something called the Prometheus Protocol. Ryan had never heard that name before. It's a classified project, General Stone continued. A plan for what to do if humanity ever faces extinction, if our enemies ever try to wipe us out completely. What kind of plan? The kind that teaches the galaxy to respect human life, not through diplomacy or politics, through fear. Ryan thought about this. You want to scare them. I want them to know that killing innocent humans has consequences. I want every alien in the galaxy to think twice before attacking a human medical ship. How? General Stone stood up. By showing them that humans can be very dangerous when we want to be. By proving that we never forget, and we never forgive, and we never stop hunting the people who hurt us. Ryan looked at his hands. They were shaking slightly. You want revenge. I want justice. The Zephyrians killed 2,000 innocent people and laughed about it. Someone needs to make them pay. What would I have to do? Train with a special unit. Learn skills most soldiers never learn. Then go into Zephyrian space and gather intelligence. That sounds like a suicide mission. Maybe. But, Commander, every person who died on the Healing Dawn was on a mission to save lives. You survived for a reason. Maybe that reason is to make sure their deaths meant something. Ryan closed his eyes and saw Amy Preston's face. She had been so young, so hopeful. She had believed that helping people was the most important thing in the universe. Now she was dead, because aliens thought humans didn't matter. When do I start? Ryan asked. General Stone smiled again. This time, it was real. As soon as you can. Walk. 3 weeks later, Ryan Beck was discharged from the hospital. His leg still hurt, but it worked. His other injuries had healed. The doctors said he was fit for duty, but the real wounds, the ones in his mind, would never heal completely. Every night, he dreamed about the healing dawn. Every morning, he woke up angry. He reported to a secret military base hidden in the mountains of Colorado. The sign outside said, Advanced Training Facility. But Ryan knew what it really was. It was where they trained people to become ghosts, to strike from the shadows and disappear, to make their enemies afraid of the dark. As Ryan walked through the gates, he made a promise to himself and to the memory of everyone who died on the Healing Dawn. The Zephyrians thought humans were insects. They were about to learn how dangerous an angry insect could be. The training facility looked normal from the outside. Just another military base with concrete buildings and training fields. But Ryan quickly learned that nothing here was normal. On his first day, he met his instructor, Lieutenant Colonel Maria. Rodriguez was a small woman with dark hair and scars on her hands. She looked like she could kill someone with a spoon. Welcome to Ghost Division, Commander Beck, she said. For the next 2 years, we're going to teach you how to be something the galaxy has never seen before. What's that? A human who fights. Dirty. Ryan also met the other trainees. There were only 12 of them, all picked for special reasons. Sergeant Tyler Brooks was an expert at sneaking into places he shouldn't be. Captain Ben Clark knew how to make bombs from kitchen supplies. Lieutenant Sarah Kim could hack any computer system in the galaxy. They all had one thing in common. They had all lost people to alien attacks. "The first thing you need to understand," Maria said to the group, "is that we're not training to be heroes. Heroes fight fair. Heroes follow rules. We don't do either of those things." She led them to a classroom where General Stone was waiting with a presentation. "The Prometheus Protocol," General Stone began, "is based on a simple idea. If someone tries to destroy humanity, we destroy them first, not their armies, not their ships, them personally." The screen showed pictures of alien leaders from different species. Ryan recognized Admiral Thexvar among them. "Traditional warfare is about controlling territory or defeating armies," General Stone continued. "Prometheus warfare is about making the people who start wars wish they had never been born." Tyler Brooks raised his hand. "Ma'am, how is that different from terrorism?" "Good question, Sergeant. Terrorists attack innocent people to create fear. We attack the specific people who order attacks on our innocent people. We're not trying to scare civilians. We're trying to scare the leaders who think human life is cheap." Over the following months, Ryan learned skills he had never imagined. How to change his appearance to look like different alien species. How to forge documents that would fool any computer. How to kill someone silently with his bare hands. But the most important thing he learned was patience. "Revenge is like cooking," Maria told him during one lesson. "If you rush it, you ruin everything. The best revenge is served ice cold after years of careful planning." Ryan also learned about alien cultures. He spent weeks studying Zephyrian society, learning their language, their customs, their weaknesses. Zephyrians are obsessed with personal honor, explained Dr. Alan Pierce, the cultural expert. Their entire military system is based on the reputation of individual commanders. If a high-ranking officer is publicly humiliated, it damages the whole chain of command. "How do we use that?" Ryan asked. "We make their leaders look weak and foolish. We show the galaxy that Zephyrian officers can be killed by humans anytime, anywhere." 6 months into training, General Stone called Ryan to her office. "We've got intelligence on Admiral Thexvar," she said, handing him a file. Ryan opened it and felt his anger return. The file showed that Thexvar had been promoted after destroying the Healing Dawn. He was now in command of the entire Zephyrian Third Fleet. "According to our sources," General Stone said, "he's been telling other officers that the attack on your hospital ship was a great victory. He says it proved that humans are too weak to defend themselves." Ryan's hands clenched into fists. "Where is he now?" "That's what we need to find out. And that's going to be your first mission." Ryan looked up from the file. "You want me to go into Zephyrian space?" "Not yet. First, you're going to Nexus Prime, a trade station on the border between human and Zephyrian territory. It's neutral ground where traders from all species meet. What's my mission? Learn everything you can about Zephyrian fleet movements. Find out where Thexvar's flagship operates. Most importantly, find out if there are any Zephyrian plans to attack more human civilian ships." Ryan felt a chill. "You think they're planning more attacks like the Healing Dawn? Intelligence suggests they're testing human responses. The hospital ship was just the beginning. Over the next year, Ryan's training intensified. He learned to fight with alien weapons. He practiced acting, like a trader, a mechanic, a dozen different false identities. Most importantly, he learned to control his anger. "Anger is a tool," Maria told him. "But like any tool, it's only useful if you control it. If it controls you, you'll make mistakes. And mistakes get you killed." Ryan also learned about the other, Ghost division operations happening around the galaxy. Teams were being placed on dozens of worlds, creating a network of human agents in alien territory. We're building something that's never existed before, General Stone explained during one briefing. A human intelligence network that reaches into every corner of the galaxy. When someone attacks humans, we'll know about it, and we'll be able to respond. Sergeant Tyler Brooks was being sent to infiltrate hegemony space. Captain Ben Clark was going to the Kalari Federation. Lieutenant Sarah Kim would work from a space station in the Outer Rim. "What about when the mission is over?" asked Tyler during one of their last training sessions. "Do we just keep pretending to be aliens forever?" Maria looked at them seriously. "Some of you might never come home. This is dangerous work. The aliens we're hunting won't just kill you if they catch you. They'll make you suffer first." Ryan thought about this. 2 years ago, he had been a normal Marine officer. Now he was training to become something that didn't have a name in any human language. "I volunteered for this," he said. "Everyone on the Healing Dawn died for trying to help people. The least I can do is risk my life to make sure it doesn't happen again." The others nodded. They all had similar stories. Friends killed in alien attacks. Families destroyed by wars that humans didn't start. Finally, after 2 years of training, General Stone called them together for their final briefing. "Today, you stop being human soldiers," she said. "Today, you become ghosts. You'll disappear into alien society and wait for orders. Some of you won't hear from us for years, but when the time comes, you'll know what to do." She looked at each of them in turn. "The galaxy thinks humans are weak because we follow rules, because we try to help people instead of hurting them. They're about to learn that our kindness has limits." Ryan raised his hand. "Ma'am, what happens if we get caught?" "Officially, you don't exist. The human government will deny all knowledge of your activities." General Stone paused. "Unofficially, we'll move heaven and earth to get you out. But you need to understand the risks." "We understand," Ryan said. The others nodded. "Good, Commander. Beck, your new identity is Alex Kane, a human trader specializing in rare metals. You have a small cargo ship and credentials that will pass any inspection. Your destination is Nexus Prime." She handed him a data pad with his new identity documents. "Remember," she said, "you're not looking for a fight. You're gathering information. Learn everything you can about Zephyrian operations. Find their weaknesses. Most importantly, find Admiral Thexavar." Ryan looked at his false identity papers. Alex Kane looked enough like him to pass casual inspection, but different enough that no one would connect him to Commander Ryan Beck of the destroyed hospital ship. "How long do I have?" "As long as it takes. This isn't a mission with a deadline. This is a mission with a goal. Don't come back until you know how to hurt them." As Ryan prepared to leave Earth, he thought about all the people who had died on the Healing Dawn. Captain Morrison, who had believed in helping others. Dr. Carter, who had spent her life saving people. Amy Preston, who had been so young and hopeful. They had died because aliens thought human life was worthless. Now it was time to teach the galaxy a different lesson. Ryan Beck was about to disappear forever. In his place, Alex Kane would travel to alien worlds and gather secrets. And somewhere in Zephyrian space, Admiral Thexavar continued to brag about destroying a human hospital ship. He had no idea that one of his victims was still alive and coming for him. Nexus Prime looked like a giant metal spider floating in space. The trade station had dozens of arms reaching out in all directions, each one designed for different types of ships. Human vessels docked next to Zephyrian warships. Kalari traders worked alongside hegemony merchants. Ryan Beck, now calling himself Alex Kane, guided his small cargo ship to a human docking arm. His ship was called the Lucky Strike, and it looked old and beaten up, perfect for a small-time trader who couldn't afford anything better. "Welcome to Nexus Prime," said the docking controller, a bored-sounding alien with 4 arms. "State your business." "Alex Kane, independent trader," Ryan said into his communicator. "Looking to buy rare metals and electronic components." Docking. "Fee is 200 credits. Pay at the station office." Ryan's ship shook slightly as the docking clamps grabbed it. He was now inside the heart of neutral space, surrounded by aliens who would kill him if they knew who he really was. The station was huge inside. Corridors stretched for miles in every direction. Aliens of every species walked, crawled, or floated through the passages. The air smelled like a mixture of different atmospheres, some of which burned Ryan's nose. He found a cheap hotel in the human section and rented a room for a week. The room was small and dirty, but it had a bed and a computer terminal. Most importantly, it was private. For the first few days, Ryan just watched and listened. He sat in bars where traders talked about shipping routes. He ate in restaurants where aliens complained about politics. He learned the rhythm of life on Nexus Prime. Slowly, he began to make contacts. In a bar called the Stellar Drift, he met a human trader named Jake Foster. Jake had been working this part of space for 10 years and knew everyone. "New around here?" Jake asked, sitting down next to Ryan at the bar. "Yeah, first time at Nexus Prime. I usually work the inner colonies, but the markets there are getting crowded." Jake nodded. "Smart move. Lots of opportunities out here, if you know the right people." Over several drinks, Ryan learned that Jake had connections throughout the station. He knew which alien traders could be trusted and which ones would steal your cargo. More importantly, he knew which bars the Zephyrian officers visited when they were off duty. "The Blue Boys like to drink at a place called the Void Walker," Jake said, his voice getting quieter. "They think they're better than everyone else, but they'll talk to humans if there's profit involved." "What kind of profit?" "They're always looking for rare earth metals, stuff their homeworld doesn't have, and they pay well if you can stomach dealing with them." Ryan felt his heart beat faster. This was exactly what he needed, a reason to get close to Zephyrian officers. "I might have some rare metals to sell," Ryan said carefully. "Think you could introduce me?" Jake looked at him seriously. "Alex, let me give you some advice. The Zephyrians aren't like other aliens. They're mean. They'll cheat you if they can, and they won't feel bad about it. They think humans are dirt. I can handle myself. I'm sure you can. But be careful. There are rumors about Zephyrians attacking human ships in remote areas, ships that don't make it to their destinations." Ryan kept his face calm, but inside he was excited. This confirmed what General Stone had suspected. The attack on the Healing Dawn wasn't an isolated incident. The next evening, Jake took Ryan to the Void Walker. The bar was dark and smoky, with music that sounded like screaming metal. Most of the customers were Zephyrians, tall and blue-skinned, with yellow eyes that never seemed to blink. "There," Jake whispered, pointing to a table in the corner. "That's Commander Vextar. He's in charge of supply procurement for the Third Fleet." Ryan studied the alien officer. Vextar was typical for his species, about 7 feet tall with blue skin that had silver markings. He wore a military uniform with rank insignia that Ryan recognized from his training. "Third Fleet?" Ryan asked. "That's Admiral Thexvar's command, right?" Jake looked surprised. "You know Thexvar?" "I've heard stories. Something about him being a great war hero." Jake snorted. "Hero?" That bastard murdered a whole hospital ship full of medical people. Of course, officially, it never happened. Ryan forced himself to stay calm. What do you mean? About 2 years ago, a human medical ship disappeared near Haven's Rest. The Zephyrians claim they destroyed some pirates, but everyone knows what really happened. The HFY killed a bunch of doctors and nurses, then got promoted for it. That's horrible. That's the Zephyrians for you. They hate us, but they'll still take our money. Jake led Ryan over to Commander Vextar's table. The Zephyrian officer looked up at them with cold yellow eyes. "Commander," Jake said politely, "I'd like you to meet Alex Kane. He's a trader with some interesting metals you might want to buy." Vextar studied Ryan like he was looking at an insect. "What kind of metals, human?" Ryan pulled out a small sample case. Inside were rare elements that were valuable throughout the galaxy. Platinum, iridium, some rare Earth elements that are hard to find outside human space. The Zephyrian's eyes became interested. "How much do you have?" "Enough to fill a cargo hold. But I only deal with serious buyers." "I am serious, human. The Third Fleet always needs rare metals for our weapon systems." Over the next hour, Ryan negotiated a deal to sell metals to the Zephyrian military. It was all fake, of course. The metals existed, but they belonged to Ghost Division. Ryan was just using them as an excuse to get close to Zephyrian officers. "You will need to bring your cargo to the military section of the station," Vextar said. "I will arrange for inspection and payment." "When?" "Tomorrow." "And human." Vextar leaned forward, his yellow eyes glowing. "Do not try to cheat us. Humans who cheat Zephyrians tend to have accidents." Ryan nodded, trying to look nervous. Inside, he was thrilled. He was about to get access to the Zephyrian military section of Nexus Prime. The next day, Ryan brought his fake cargo to the military docks. The area was heavily guarded, with Zephyrian soldiers at every checkpoint, but his deal with Commander Vextar got him inside. While the Zephyrians inspected his metals, Ryan listened to conversations around him. He learned about fleet movements, supply routes, and, most importantly, the location of Admiral Thexvar's flagship. "The Sovereign's Fist is conducting training exercises in the Krell system," one officer said to another. "The Admiral wants to test our new weapons." Ryan memorized every detail. Ship names, locations, personnel assignments. All of it went into his perfect memory, trained by Ghost Division instructors. Over the following weeks, Ryan became a regular visitor to the Zephyrian section. He sold more fake metals, each transaction giving him access to more information. The Zephyrian officers began to trust him, seeing him as just another greedy human trader. During one transaction, Commander Vextar had too much to drink and started talking about military plans. "The Admiral has great ambitions," Vextar said, his speech slightly slurred. "He believes that humans need to be taught their place in the galaxy." "What do you mean?" Ryan asked, pretending to be casual. "More demonstrations, like the one 2 years ago. Show the galaxy what happens to human ships that venture too far from home." Ryan felt cold anger in his chest. "You mean the hospital ship?" Vextar laughed. "Admiral Thexvar's greatest victory. He proved that humans have no protection. Under galactic law, we can destroy their ships anytime we want. Wasn't that illegal? Attacking a medical vessel? Laws are for species that matter," Vextar said, echoing the words Admiral Thexvar had spoken to Captain Morrison. "Humans are insects. You do not need laws to step on insects." That night, Ryan sent his first coded message to Earth. Hidden. In what looked like a normal trade report, he transmitted everything he had learned: fleet positions, officer names, and most importantly, confirmation that the Zephyrians were planning more attacks on human civilian ships. But Ryan wasn't done gathering intelligence. Over the following months, he learned more about Zephyrian military culture. He discovered their greatest weakness: their obsession with personal honor and public reputation. If a Zephyrian officer is publicly humiliated, Commander Vextar explained during one drunken conversation, his entire chain of command loses face. It is why challenges to personal combat are so serious in our culture. Ryan filed this information away. An idea was beginning to form in his mind: a way to hurt Admiral Thexvar worse than just killing him. 6 months after arriving at Nexus Prime, Ryan received a coded message from General Stone. Other Ghost Division agents had confirmed his intelligence. The Zephyrians were indeed planning systematic attacks on human civilian targets. The message contained new orders: infiltrate Zephyrian space directly and gather intelligence on Admiral Thexavar's flagship. Ryan smiled as he read the message. He had been waiting for this moment since the day he watched the Healing Dawn die. He said goodbye to Jake Foster, claiming that he had found a better trade route in another sector. Jake wished him luck and warned him to be careful. Space is dangerous for humans these days, Jake said, especially in Zephyrian territory. I'll be careful, Ryan promised. As his ship left Nexus Prime, Ryan thought about all the intelligence he had gathered. He knew the location of every major Zephyrian military base. He knew their supply routes, their communication codes, their officer rotation schedules. Most importantly, he knew that Admiral Thexvar would be attending a... Ryan's plan was crazy. Even he knew that. But sometimes crazy plans worked because no one expected them. He had spent 3 months in Zephyrian space, posing as Alex Kane, the metal trader. He had learned their customs, their language, and most importantly, their weaknesses. Now he was ready to do something that had never been done before in galactic history. He was going to assassinate a Zephyrian admiral during a public ceremony, broadcast it to the entire galaxy, and somehow escape alive. The ceremony was called the Honor of the Fleet. It happened once every 5 years, when Zephyrian military leaders gathered to celebrate their greatest victories. This year, Admiral Thexvar would be the guest of honor, receiving the highest medal their navy could give. The ceremony would take place aboard the Sovereign's Fist, Thexvar's flagship. Thousands of Zephyrian officers would attend, along with representatives from other alien species. It would be broadcast live across the galaxy. Ryan had spent weeks studying the ship's layout. The Sovereign's Fist was massive, over 2 miles long, with dozens of decks and thousands of rooms. Security would be tight, but Ryan had found a weakness. During ceremonies, some areas of the ship would be less guarded. The Zephyrians were proud, creatures who loved to show off. They would want alien guests to see their magnificent flagship. 3 days before the ceremony, Ryan received a coded message from General Stone. Other Ghost Division agents were in position throughout Zephyrian space. Tyler Brooks had infiltrated the ceremony's communication systems. Sarah Kim was standing by to hack Zephyrian networks. Maria Rodriguez was commanding a small team near the border, ready to provide extraction if Ryan somehow survived. Remember, General Stone's message said, "The goal is not just revenge. The goal is to send a message that will prevent future attacks on human civilians. Make it count." Ryan knew what she meant. He couldn't just kill Thexvar quietly. He had to do it in a way that would terrify every alien in the galaxy. He had to show them that humans could strike anywhere, anytime, against anyone who hurt innocent people. The day of the ceremony, Ryan put on his best trader's clothes and boarded a shuttle to the Sovereign's Fist. His invitation was perfect, forged by the best experts Ghost Division had. According to his papers, Alex Kane was a human businessman interested in expanding trade relationships with the Zephyrian military. The flagship was even bigger up close. It looked like a floating city, bristling with weapons and covered in armor. Thousands of windows showed different decks inside, each one full of Zephyrian sailors preparing for the ceremony. Ryan's shuttle docked with dozens of others. Alien dignitaries from across the galaxy had come to honor Zephyrian military might. They walked through corridors lined with trophies from Zephyrian victories. Ryan saw pieces of destroyed human ships displayed like hunting prizes. The ceremony was held in the ship's main auditorium, a huge room that could hold 5,000 people. Zephyrian officers in dress uniforms filled most of the seats. Alien guests sat in a special section, watched carefully by guards. Ryan found his assigned seat and waited. Around him, aliens talked quietly about trade deals and political alliances. None of them knew they were about to witness history. Admiral Thexvar entered the auditorium to thunderous applause. He was exactly as Ryan remembered from the attack on the Healing Dawn. Tall and blue-skinned, with cold yellow eyes and an arrogant smile. He wore a uniform covered in medals, each one representing people he had killed. The ceremony began with speeches about Zephyrian greatness. Admiral after admiral stood up to praise their military's victories. They talked about destroyed pirate ships and successful raids against inferior species. When Admiral Thexvar's turn came, he walked to the podium with confidence. The audience fell silent. "My fellow warriors," Thexvar began, his voice carrying across the auditorium, "we gather today to celebrate our greatest achievement, the complete domination of lesser species who dare to challenge Zephyrian authority." He clicked a control, and a holographic display appeared above the podium. It showed the wreckage of human ships floating in space. 2 years ago, I had the honor of destroying a group of human terrorists who were attacking the peaceful colony of Haven's Rest. This victory proved that humans have no place in civilized space. Ryan felt his anger building, but he forced himself to stay calm. Not yet. He had to wait for the right moment. Thexvar continued his speech, describing the attack on the Healing Dawn as a great military victory. He talked about the cowardly humans who had tried to hide behind medical protection laws. The audience applauded every word. "The humans begged for mercy," Thexvar said, laughing. "They claimed to be doctors and nurses. They said they were only trying to help people. But we knew the truth. They were terrorists hiding behind medical symbols." The lie was so bold, so shameless, that Ryan almost stood up right then. But he waited. His moment was coming. Finally, Thexvar's speech ended. The Admiral was presented with the Medal of Fleet Honor, the highest award in the Zephyrian military. As he accepted it, the audience stood and applauded. That was Ryan's signal. He slipped out of the auditorium during the applause. His target was Admiral Thexvar's private quarters 3 decks above. According to his intelligence, Thexvar would go there after the ceremony to prepare for the celebration dinner. The corridors were mostly empty. Everyone was either at the ceremony or preparing for the evening's festivities. Ryan moved quickly, but carefully, avoiding the few guards he encountered. Thexvar's quarters were guarded by 2 soldiers, but they were distracted by the sounds of celebration from below. Ryan used a small gas device, something Ghost Division had given him, to put them to sleep without killing them. Inside the quarters, Ryan set up his equipment. Tyler Brooks had done his job perfectly. The communication systems were ready to broadcast on all frequencies to every planet in Zephyrian space and beyond. Ryan hid behind a curtain and waited. 20 minutes later, Admiral Thexavar entered his quarters. He was alone, still wearing his dress uniform and new medal. He looked happy, probably thinking about the promotion this ceremony would bring. Ryan stepped out from behind the curtain. "Admiral Thexavar," he said quietly. The Admiral spun around, his hand moving toward his weapon, but he stopped when he saw that Ryan was pointing a pistol at his chest. "Who are you?" Thexavar demanded. "How did you get past my guards?" "My name is Commander Ryan Beck of the Human Medical Corps. I was aboard the hospital ship Healing Dawn when you murdered 2,000 innocent people." Thexavar's yellow eyes went wide. "That's impossible. Everyone on that ship died." "Almost everyone." Ryan activated the broadcasting device. Now every screen in Zephyrian space was showing this room. "Tell the galaxy what you told Captain Morrison. Tell them why you destroyed a medical ship." "I will tell you nothing, human insect." Ryan shot him in the leg. Thexavar fell to the floor, screaming. "You're broadcasting this to the entire Zephyrian fleet," Ryan said calmly. "To every planet in your empire. To the Galactic Council. Tell them the truth about the Healing Dawn." "Never!" Ryan shot him in the other leg. "Captain Jake Morrison, Dr. Lisa Carter, Amy Preston, Kevin Walsh, 2,000 names, Admiral. 2,000 people who died because you wanted to test human. Resolve." Thexavar was bleeding and in terrible pain, but his arrogance remained. "They were nothing. Insects. Humans have no rights." Wrong answer. Ryan shot him in the arm. "Let me tell you about Dr. Carter. She spent her life saving people. When your ships attacked, she died trying to protect wounded soldiers. She never hurt anyone in her entire life. I don't care about your human weaklings." Amy Preston was 25 years old. She joined the medical corps because she wanted to help people. She died in the bridge explosion trying to send a distress signal. Ryan shot Thexavar in the other arm. The Admiral was now helpless, unable to move, bleeding on the floor of his own quarters. "Captain Morrison asked you for medical protection. Under galactic law. You laughed at him. You said humans were insects who didn't deserve protection." "It's true," Thexavar gasped. "You are all insects." "Then what does that make you?" Ryan asked. "You're about to be killed by an insect." He placed the gun against Thexavar's head. "Wait," the Admiral said, fear finally entering his voice. "You can't kill me. I'm a fleet commander. If you murder me, every Zephyrian in the galaxy will hunt you down." "Let them come," Ryan said. "But first tell the galaxy the truth. Admit that you attacked a hospital ship. Admit that you murdered medical personnel in violation of every law of war." Thexavar looked directly into the camera, his yellow eyes full of hate and pain. "Yes," he said through gritted teeth. "I destroyed the human medical ship. I killed their doctors and nurses, and I would do it again. Humans are vermin that must be exterminated." Ryan nodded. "Thank you for your honesty, Admiral." He pulled the trigger. Admiral Thexavar, hero of the Zephyrian fleet, died on the floor of his own quarters, broadcast live to the entire galaxy. Ryan looked into the camera. "My name is Commander Ryan Beck, sole survivor of the hospital ship Healing Dawn. Admiral Thexavar murdered 2,000 innocent medical personnel 2 years ago. Today, justice has been served." He paused, letting his words sink in across the galaxy. To every alien leader watching this broadcast, humans remember. We never forget and we never forgive. Attack our civilians and we will come.